Houston Museum of Natural Science is hosting an exhibition that digs down to the bedrock of American democracy. Amanda Norris, Director of Youth Education Sales, explains.
Amending America, the Bill of Rights is an exhibit from the National Archives. They are celebrating 225-year anniversary of the Bill of Rights, so to mark that anniversary, they set up about 4 or 5 different traveling exhibits to go around to different parts of the country. They're hoping to kind of get a discussion going about the Bill of Rights, what the Founding Fathers went through, getting the Bill of Rights together, the Constitution together, and now how are we interpreting it in modern times, because of course that was the intent from our Founding Fathers when they created these amazing documents. As you go through the exhibit, you'll see several facsimiles, the Constitution itself, like you would see if you went to the National Archives, but we've got the copy of that. Most of these documents are very fragile, so you have to be very careful with them, light exposure and such. So there's several of those throughout. There are handwritten letters from people, depending on which amendment you're looking at, discussing that right and how they are interpreting that right. There's wonderful videos from the History Channel throughout. There's a lot of interactives for children to kind of manipulate and do different things with, to see what the process was getting this document put together. In order to continue on in America's future, you really need to know the past. How did we get here? What led us to this? Any school-age children, they're learning it anywhere from 3rd grade through high school, all the way to government economics, throughout college, and even those lifelong learners. You need to know what seemed to be intended at the time, what the time period was like when they were creating these. I always kind of refer to our 3rd Amendment, the Quartering Act, which is the only uncontested amendment in our Constitution, because we don't worry about having the king's soldiers being housed in our own private property, but it's there because at the time period that was very important to them. If you don't have that nice basic fundamental understanding of what was going on, you don't know why these are important and why some people get really up in arms about certain amendments and some don't. You just have to kind of know where you're coming from, and it's open to interpretation for a reason. What our Founding Fathers did was they went to these other countries, and we were just threw off a monarch. We knew we didn't want that. We knew what we liked of that. We took some ideas from the Magna Carta, if you were here for that exhibit. We took some ideas from there, we took some ideas from France, and we kind of what we felt was the cream of the crop of government ideals and put together this Constitution. So that's really, really neat to see that. New countries that start up, you'll see them kind of taking bits and pieces from just kind of like we did when we first started.
It may seem strange that a natural science museum features a history exhibit, but Norris explains that the political philosophers who created the Bill of Rights were citizen scientists as well.
What's so cool about the Houston Museum of Natural Science is our mission is education. What better way to kind of have an ode to education than to have a history exhibit talking about our foundation, how we started. As you know, several of the Founding Fathers, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, loved science. Everything they could do with science. We highlight Mr. Peel out front, who was the first creator of a natural science museum in America. We've got our Cabinet of Curiosities going on right now in our exhibit halls. If you haven't seen it, you should see that. It's so great. So Thomas Jefferson, one of our Founding Fathers and also President, was really excited about all the unique and interesting things we hadn't seen out west. Sends out Lewis and Clark and says, find the craziest, weirdest things you can find, send them back to the White House, and then he eventually puts all of these things on display. I mean, that's the way the National Science Museum started. So it's a really nice hand-in-hand exhibit with what we have. We also have our Hall of the Americas. The Iroquois Nation had a little contract that we stole parts from, you could say, borrowed, for our Constitution, for our Bill of Rights. So there's definitely some tie-ins. We always like to say all of our halls cover all of our subjects. This is just getting to really emphasize American history, the 225th anniversary. So it's a really nice tie-in for our educational mission.
Amending America, the Bill of Rights will be on display through January 8, 2017. For more information, visit the museum's website at www.hmns.org. For Day Trips, I'm Stacee Hawkins.